Howdy students, we're going to go over the guided project for Word Chapter 1. And I'm going to go ahead and with you look at how we get there again. So I'm in the Unit 2, Word Chapter 1, and I'm going to the checklist again, Word Chapter 1 assignments, and I'm going down here to complete the guided project. And there's a video here of the guided project, obviously, because you're watching me record it right now. So click on Guided Project. Download materials. Again, I don't like downloading all files because it puts it in a zipped folder and then you can't save back to the zipped folder and it complicates things. So I just click zip, 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 and it's not actually zipping. I'm saying zip just because I'm a squirrel. So remember that your first one is always instructions. The second one is always the student file, the one that you start with, and anything after that is something else that we're going to use in the completion of the projects. So I'm going to hit close. I can leave this open. I can open my instructions and get them over to the other screen so that they're not in your way. And I can minimize that. And then I can go to the student file. And naturally, it popped it up on the other screen. So here is our student file. And our instructions say that in this project, as I said in the first video, which was the guided project for common features, you want to go ahead and read the project description because it gives you a little idea of why you're doing something or why you might be doing something in a professional setting. It says, in this project, you prepare material related to destinations and special events for a travel magazine. As you complete the document, you adjust document settings and make sure that it is error-free. And the first instruction says, download the file, ensure that non-printing characters are displayed. So that is a very important instruction. Pretty clearly, we're going to use those non-printing character marks. So to do that, we go right here. And this is our non-printing character marks. It's a backward P, and I call it the paragraph mark. Okay, show. There we go. And you can see that it shows that is a paragraph mark, that backward P. And then there's a little dot for spaces, and you will see other things like hard returns. Now, it wants us to place the insertion point at the end of the document, so I'm going to go Control End. Okay, this is really important. I've told students before, Control End, and they hit Control and N. No, it is Control End right here. And then Control Home takes you to the very beginning of the document. We're going to use this over and over and over in this course because we're going to be adding something to the end or adding something to the beginning. So I am at the end of the document and I have to go back to my instructions, which are here because I pulled up the picture of the keyboard. And we want to insert the text, which is the other file that we downloaded. So I'm going to go here, Insert, and over here in the object, I'm going to choose Text from File. So that was on the Insert menu, the Text, Grouping, Object, Text from File. And then, I know everything's in downloads, right? Life is simpler, I promise you. So it's one of the last three, and it says that it is the one that is travel.docx. So there we go. And that inserted it. I just double clicked. Some people don't. They go here and they go to text from file. They click on it and then they click the insert button. But I think double click is a little bit faster. And our next instruction says check for spelling and grammatical errors. So I'm going to go to Review, Spelling and Grammar. Mediterranean, it says, is wrong. It gives me the suggestion. That would be the one I would want. Cloisters, no. Now, what the problem is there's not a space there, and I do want a space there. So I'm going to change level, and that's exactly correct. If you look, they got the period in between the E and the L, and that's not what they intended, but be sure that you look. Defenders won't work, will it? We want defenders, and we don't want definers. We want defenders. You have to pay attention. You can't just go through and hit change without applying some logic and using your brain. Became. The Alamo became an inspiration. That makes sense. And look, because I have selected in options to show readability statistics, it tells me that there are 8 paragraphs, 37 sentences, 612 words, sentences per paragraph. The grade level, it says, is a 10.8, so about a 10th grade level. It's pretty interesting. And then passive sentences is 8%, probably not a bad thing. And reading ease 46.8. So I like seeing those statistics. And I'm now consulting the instructions again, and it says use the thesaurus to identify a synonym for the word quaint in the 3rd paragraph on the 1st page. So I could search for it, or I could do Control F. Well, get my focus over here. Control F. There we go. I could search for quaint, and there. Okay, now let's make sure that is actually the 3rd paragraph. And it is actually the 3rd paragraph. It's got highlighted. I click the Thesaurus button and it automatically puts it in there. And it wants me to choose charming instead. There's charming, and I'm going to click here, insert. And it automatically replaced it for me. So we have finished instruction number 3. It wants the left and right margins at 1 inch. So I'm going to go to the Layout tab, Margins, and I'm going to go to Custom Margins because when you're going to designate it, that's what you need, is Custom Margins. Does not appear to have popped up. Margins, Custom Margins. If it did, it popped up behind something, which is always interesting. Let me see. We have a margin dialog box. I have a whole lot of windows open, don't I? Cancel. Don't know why that was there. Margins. Custom margin. Everything does not always work like you would like it to. So let's try again. Margins. Custom margins. I cannot even believe this. I just paused it and did it, and it did just fine. It's being weird with me. There we go. There's the margins. It wants the left and the right to be 1 inch. So I highlight it. I don't have to hit backspace. I just type 1 and it replaces the highlighted. And I hit tab to move to the next one and it automatically highlights it, and I just hit 1. And then I hit enter and it changes my margins. And it wants a custom diagonal blue watermark that displays draft. So to find our watermark, we're going to go to the Design tab, and there is watermark. And then it said a custom watermark, so look right down there, custom watermark. And it says that it wants it to be diagonal blue watermark that displays draft. So it's going to be a text watermark. It's going to display draft. We are going to use the color of blue right there, and you'll notice this is light blue. So blue in standard colors, semi-transparent, auto, diagonal is checked right there, and hit OK. Now it says draft. Okay. Now it wants us to delete the hard return at the end of the 3rd paragraph on the 1st page, and it tells us ending in guest rooms. Those are important little clues for you. I'm going to close this navigation window here, and I don't really need Thesaurus open at the moment either, and then I'm going to zoom back a little bit. There we go. 3rd paragraph on the 1st page. 1, 2, 3. Ends in guest rooms right there. Wants us to delete that hard return, and put a space in. So what we're doing is we're taking two paragraphs and making them into one. Change the word offer in the last paragraph on the first page to feature. Go to the last paragraph. Restaurants along the walk offer, and I could have done Control F to find offer, and it wants it changed to feature. If you had not changed your margin, you would not find this here. So when you're doing these exercises and you find that what you're looking for is not on the correct page, go back, look at margins and paragraph spacings and make sure that you have them correct. So 1 click places my cursor, 2 selects a word. Feature, and I do not have to hit backspace again. When it's selected, I simply start typing. Okay, feature, change the word it's in the last paragraph on the second page to it is. Last paragraph on the second page. When I click right here, notice down here that it tells me page 2 of 2. Nice, especially if you've got 17 pages. In the last paragraph, change it's to it is. Okay, this would be a nice one to do Control F because you would have actually found it. So it wants IT''S right there. And we don't want that. So it is. It is huge in history. And the 4th paragraph on the first. Now, let me show you something. This is a place where highlighting what you have done becomes really important because first we inserted a space. Oh, I didn't change that number to 200 in the last paragraph. Oh my goodness. So I actually did get, so ending in guest, insert a space, change the number 200 in the 6th paragraph on the first page to 300. I got offered a feature, but I wasn't highlighting like I suggested that you do in the beginning. So we're going to go ahead and we just did it's and it is, and I'm going to go back and change the number 200 in the 6th paragraph, and I've got my navigation tab open. I'm just going to type 200. But that's why you want to highlight your instructions, each individual little sentence, because sure enough, there we go, to 300. And then the 4th paragraph on the first page incorrectly describes the cloister as the cloisters, and it wants it to correct it each time the mistake is made in the paragraph. So I'm going to do I don't have to do Control F because it's open, and I'm going to type in cloisters. Well, and there we go. Now let's see. That is page 1 of 2. It says it's the 4th paragraph on the first page, the cloisters. So it wants it to just be cloister. It's twice. So it's really not a big deal, and it's not worth hunting down, find, and replace. If you have to do 27 of them, most definitely worth doing find and replace. So we've done that. Now it wants us to insert plain number 2 at the page number at the bottom of the page. So we're going to go to the Insert menu, and it's on the Header and Footer tab. And if it tells you to put a footer and insert a page number, just go ahead and go straight to page number because it does insert it as a footer or a header. If it's at the top of the page, it's going to insert it as a header. And it wants plain number 2 at the bottom of the page. Plain number 2 right there. So we now have that. And then insert a header with Southeastern Living on the left. So I'm going to go back to Insert. I'm going to double click up here, and then I'm in the header. And it wanted this on the left, Southeastern Living. And then on the second page, it wants you to insert the file name. The file name is found right up here. It's on the Design tab. Insert, Document Info, File Name. And that is a really handy feature, and I use it a lot. And the other thing that I use a lot is the file path. Because when you're working in the professional world and you end up with thousands of documents in the course of a year, when you pull this document out and you go, where did I save that? Is that in accounting? Is it in financials? Nice to have that file path on there. Okay, that concludes instruction number 6. We also want to include, edit the header to include a copyright symbol before the word Southeastern Living. So I'm going to put my cursor right in front of it, and I'm going to insert symbol, and right there is the copyright symbol. So it's on the insert menu, it's on the symbol palette, symbol copyright right there. And now it wants to replace the dash that divides the first occurrence of the words 5 and star with a non-breaking hyphen. So I'm going to, in the first paragraph, 5 star right here. Now when I just double click to get out of the header, because if I cannot go hunting for a menu item, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete that one, and I'm going to go back to symbol and go to more symbols. And then I'm going to go to special characters, non-breaking hyphen. Now what a non-breaking hyphen does is it prevents 5 and star, it prevents the separation of them onto 2 lines if it hits where it would separate. So non-breaking hyphen, insert, there we go. I'm going to close that. And then it wants, in the 7th paragraph, replace the dash that divides the words text and mex with a non-breaking. I'm just going to type text over here in navigation. Texas, Tex-Mex food right there. That space over that hyphen, symbol, more symbols, special characters, non-breaking hyphen, close. And I just double clicked to insert it because, again, if we can do that, I think it's easier. Okay, now I want to replace the space after the first name Addison in the 2nd paragraph on the 1st page. So I don't want to hunt for Addison. 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 Oh, apparently I didn't spell Addison. A-D-D. D-I-S-O-N. One result. This is important. If it only has one result, you can be pretty sure it's where it said it was going to be. And I look down here, and sure enough, it's on page 1, so I'm going to say that that is true. Now, I'm going to delete this space, which is going to put the 2 words together, and then I'm going to go to Insert, Symbol, More Symbols, Special Characters, and Non-Breaking Space, right there. Double click. Close. So now, those 2, the first name and the last name, will not break across 2 lines. It's going to keep them always together. Insert a page break before the 5th paragraph on the 1st page, beginning no trip to Texas. So we are still on page 1. Before the 5th paragraph on page 1. No trip to Texas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I just searched for no trip to make my life a little bit easier, and it wants a page break inserted here. So I can click up here and click Insert Page Break. Now, if we go up here, we can see the page break. If I turn off, go to the Home tab and I turn off, it doesn't show, and it put it to the end. That's why I like to work with the paragraph marks showing, because I can see why everything is where it is. Now we want to change the top margin to 2 inch, so I'm going to go back to Layout, Margins, custom margins. And the top margin is highlighted. I just do 2 and hit enter. That changed it to 2 inches. Save the document and run Compatibility Checker. So I can just do Control S, save the document, or I could have gone down here, File, Save, and then it wants to run Compatibility Checker, so File, and if you'll look, Inspect Document, check for issues, check compatibility. And the summary, no compatibility issues were found. Okay, so we're good on that. And then we want to inspect the document accepting all defaults and remove all document properties and personal information. So I'm going to go back over here, inspect document, and inspect document, yes. Now it says it wants to remove all document properties and personal information. So, inspect. Okay. Didn't say custom to remove those, so I'm going to hit close. And that is done. And then add travel, Texas, and Georgia to the keywords field. So we go back to File again. And over here on the Properties menu, we want to see Advanced Properties, and that gives us the opportunity to edit them. Keywords are right down here, and I'm going to type travel, Texas, Georgia, and hit OK. And that way, if you were searching for travel, Texas, or Georgia in your documents, it would pop up. And save and close and submit as directed. Control S, close. If I hadn't done, okay, save. Now I'm going to submit it as directed. I'm going to pull this up, choose my file, and it's going to be in downloads. I'm going to hit date modified twice. It's going to bring up the last thing to the top. It says 2:02 right here. I look down at my time. It's 2:03. I know that's the last thing I saved. So I double click it. And I hit upload, and I hit submit for grading, and I am finished.